Hello, all you lovely computer people out there. Welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market, where today we are looking at this lovely specimen here. We're filming this one inside because, well, if you've seen some of the other episodes, cat intrusion, and I had to redo this one. And since it's balling sideways right now in the Carolinas, in my part of the Carolinas, can't film it outside either. So anyway, what is this plant you're looking at here? Well, we're going to zoom in just a little bit. There. See? Now, its scientific name is Asarum arifolium, also known as little brown jugs, which is one of its its few names. It has a couple names to it, formally recognized, mind you, but that's quite possibly the cutest of the bunch, and it's descriptive in a way that the other names really aren't. Now, it is in the family Aristolochiaceae, aka the birthwort family. This family, by the way, was named because the flowers resemble a human birth canal. Now, again, this goes back to that whole field of medicine that was essentially theoretical, that whatever the plant part in question resembled on the human body meant that that part was meant to treat ailments of that part. So if it was shaped like a lung, then it was meant to treat a lung. Ever hear of lungwort? Pulmonaria? Boom. So forth, so on. Well, plants in the birthwort family were believed to treat ailments of the birth canal and or the uterus and womb. All of that. But of course, factually, not so much. Now, the other place that this name, Aristolochiaceae, came from is ancient Greek, Aristos, best, and Logia, childbirth / childbed. Okay, well, they're keeping that on track. Best for the childbirth and or childbed? That second one doesn't make sense, but whatever. Now, another theory for where the name of the actual family it's in, the grouping of the family it's in, is that the Roman orator, Cicero, claimed it was named for Aristolocos, who learned about the plant from a dream, indicating that it was used to cure snake bites. Well, I can't tell you how impossible that might be for this plant. In specific, there are other members of Aristolochiaceae, and there probably was one in ancient Greece somewhere, but the idea that it was for curing a plant that only is endemic to North America, showing up in a dream in ancient Greece, is highly unlikely. So it must have been a cousin there. So it's definitely not this plant. But anyway, yeah, so the arifolium part means its leaves are like arum, which they kind of are. I mean, look at these. These leaves kind of do resemble arrowhead vine, calicasia, elephant ear, so forth, so on. So that's understandable. Now, this plant is native to the southeastern USA. There are probably, I believe, there are other related members of its grouping that are in Northeast and so forth. So you'll find it on the continent. It's a show enough native. It's hardy in USDA zones 5A to 9B and is classified as an evergreen perennial, which is true. Every time I've ever seen this plant, and I'm going to just adjust the camera angle a little tiny bit, it is always in wooded areas. Its soil pH preference is 6 to 8, and it is classified as a slow-growing plant with a preference for the kind of soils you find in the sandhills and surrounding areas, so woodland soils that have a certain amount of leaf litter, a certain amount of organic matter, so forth, so on. When I found this one, it was in soil that was almost pelletized, but those were essentially the castings of earthworms that had eaten the leaf litter or some part of it and deposited their manure near the surface, as earthworms tend to do. There are certain areas of the test garden where there is a lot of earthworm activity based on the amount of poop we find out there. I mean, they're just dumping everywhere. I want to put up a little miniature sign that says no dumping, but I don't know if I want to discourage earthworms. Anyway, this plant prefers partial shade to dappled sunlight, which is basically under the canopy of a forest. During the winter, when the sun's light isn't so intense, if it's under deciduous oaks and things like that, then it usually is fine. The leaf litter helps it survive. Its height can be 6 to 8 inches, and its width, well, this is in more my opinion and based on the information that I managed to glean, the individual clumps can be up to 12 inches in nature. I've never seen a forest bed floor where it's full of these things and they form a dense mat, sort of like violets would. So yeah, I've seen them in clumps. The clumps are usually about a foot wide at most. Now, this plant is also known as arrowhead wild ginger, heartleaf wild ginger, and wild ginger. Because ginger, won't you? Not in here, buddy. Now, this plant may be listed as Hexastylus arifolia or Asarum grandiflorum. The first one is actually how it's listed on Wikipedia in specific. However, Asarum arifolium is how it's listed on the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Gardener's Toolbox, which is through NC State. So I'm going to go with NC State. A little state bias on my part. Not ashamed to say that. Now, as for Asarum grandiflorum, I have never seen that listed anywhere else, but NC State says that is an alternate name. So there you go. Now, the roots themselves may seem medicinal because they have an aroma that many people liken to a mix of black pepper and ginger, but they're not. And I'm going to cover that in just a sec. Now, this plant, in that regard, is actually more closely related to black pepper vine, or the Piper family, than actual ginger, which is entirely different family, under an entirely different grouping, in fact. They're not related. Despite the smell, plants tend to trade aromatic compounds or similar aromatic compounds, and it's just a fluke that they happen to smell alike. It doesn't mean they're equally edible. Now, this plant is resistant to deer, rabbits, drought, heat, and not so great soil, which is good. I mean, obviously you want a plant that's tough. It's native, so it can handle our weather, our weird hurricane stuff going on. As I filmed this, I believe it's Hurricane Beryl is rolling through Tennessee, and we're getting tremendously wet weather, which we needed. Now, in traditional medicine, and again, always with traditional medicine, I throw up the air quotes on traditional because sometimes it's not, sometimes it is, but always consult a certified practitioner before you attempt to use any kind of special traditional medicine to treat your ailments. It is used as an expectorant, analgesic, and diuretic, but it may cause kidney damage if consumed straight up. Now, it may cause that if it's prepared. The amounts and the dosages vary, and you should be very careful before using a wild herb to treat any of your ailments, because it might just be the last thing that you do. Or as I like to tell people in Foreshore, since this plant is a Forage Tour exclusive, you can try anything in the wilderness, food-wise, you want, approximately once. But whether or not you survive to do it again is an entirely different matter. So with that said, if you have any comments about little brown jugs, or you grow it, you have it, you like it, you want to know where to get it, you want to know where to buy the plant because it is available through nurseries, please leave those comments in the comment section. If you like this episode, please hit like. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. It helps the channel a great deal. We're trying to grow the Wild Forage Nation as well as this channel. And the Forage blog is still going strong. So, as always, folks, keep them growing. Thank you for watching.